Alright, finally time to look at a run from mid-June, which features the fruit fly and the African wild dog. Now, it's kind of unfortunate that I waited this long to edit this video because in the interim, I think African wild dog has actually been changed twice. So in this video, the ability of the wild dog is to jump attack the first enemy, and it does 3, 6 and 9 damage depending on level, although we don't really care about the attack stat. And then it was changed to jump attack the second enemy, so in theory you can still do this build that we're going to look at. You're just going to be targeting a different unit. And then in the most recent update it was changed so that it doesn't automatically set its attack stat anymore. It still does 3, 6 and 9 damage, but if you ended up scaling it higher, it doesn't lose those stats when it jump attacks. So I guess that's a pretty big buff for a tier 1. Honestly, I felt it was fine as it was. But either way, you can still make a build much like the one we're going to look at today. So the concept is this, that Fruit Fly, which snipes the opposite enemy and gives them Blueberry. Actually, it gives them Blueberry first. That means it's guaranteed to remove the equipment from the opposite pet. And that means that we can guarantee our African wild dog is going to be able to hit that unit when it has no protection at all. So to take advantage of that, I want to put Peanut on the wild dog. And there are a few different methods you can use for that, but the one I wanted to go for was pilling Walrus. And Walrus actually doesn't give peanut anymore, it gives peanut butter, which means that your death touch only works once. But honestly, the main point of this build was to instantly one-shot the first unit on the opposing team, regardless of how big it is. And African wild dog doing very little damage but having peanut butter is still going to achieve that. So yeah, with these two units both being very early tier, tier 1 and tier 2, it was quite easy to get this going, but very, very difficult to actually win any games with it. It is very fun when it works and when you knock out the first unit on the opposing team when it's an absolutely massive. But oftentimes because your team just isn't, doesn't have anything else going on, it does tend to struggle to actually get victories. Although I think we're going to be okay here as a result of the cheese. So throughout this process I tried a bunch of different versions of this, and ultimately I wanted to have Donut on the wild dog, which we get here, and then I would pill the Walrus and that would guarantee that the wild dog would get the peanut butter. Donut is not a very commonly used perk. I'm always trying to come up with new ways to use it, but it's really not very good, especially for its tier. And there are a lot of effects in the game that are not random at all, and so Donut doesn't affect them anyway. So now we get the chance to pill the Walrus. I almost do it without buying the Donut first, and now this guarantees that the African wild dog will get Peanut. So we're bringing the Elephant Seal just to try and keep ourselves alive, although we don't have enough gold left to actually trigger it this turn. And then the next team has a 1-1 Cockroach, so we don't really get much value from the peanut butter, and you can see that it gets removed after the wild dog uses it. But it looks like we're going to be okay against this summon team that kind of hasn't really got started yet. We don't really need Quetzalcoatl here. The level in the wild dog doesn't matter at all. If it's level 1, it'll still work, but I guess it looks like I'm going to take it anyway to try and get the level 3 Fruit Fly. Yeah, probably not the smartest decision, and it hits the wild dog anyway. I'm sure I must have already had the level 3 Fruit Fly achievement anyway. But again, another team that doesn't have a huge unit at the front, so we're not really getting to see the combo in all of its glory. I mean, is it too much to ask for a 100-100 behemoth? I mean, they always seem to appear when I don't really want to see them. Now, we don't actually have to use Wild Dog for this. We could also use Snow Leopard. And I think there were some runs where I was trying to have both of them with peanut butter. So then we could get potentially 2 big units on the other side instantly knocked out. Which kind of happens by chance here, but we're still going to lose because they have level 2 cat. Anytime you have a team like this where you have, multiple tech units that you're relying on, it's going to be a bit of a struggle against properly scaled opponents, as we saw in that last round. So I take the Thrush and put it in between the 2 jump attackers, so we'll get some start of battle buffs. And this is the perfect opponent. Big tier 1, almost 50-50, and the combination of Fruit Fly plus Wild Dog instantly knocks it out. Couldn't have drawn it up better, and we just want another team exactly like that on the next turn. We actually get level 2 Thrush as well. I think that was probably another reason why I had 2 jump attackers that I wanted to work in some of the adjacent pets. And it's a summon team with Walrus. So although we get the knockout, we then immediately lose our biggest unit due to the peanut hitting the Orca at the front. And I think, yeah, even though we do get Kappa here and do a little bit of extra damage to the flying fish, it's going to be a loss. Pretty frustrating to come so close and fall at the final hurdle. Okay, let's regroup and go again. This time I think I relaxed the requirements in terms of what I actually wanted for the final team. Like I mentioned in the previous run, you can use Snow Leopard instead of Wild Dog. So you have options, you can mix and match if you're not getting the units that you actually want. There are definitely plenty of games where I didn't find Fruit Fly or didn't find Wild Dog in the early turns. It doesn't necessarily matter because you don't need either of them to be high level. But the fact that they're tier 1 and 2 does make it very easy for frog swapping. And that's obviously very easy to do in the early game, and it becomes much more difficult the later on the game goes. Here's Rev, presumably random packing. Our Bass isn't going to do anything because we don't have level 2 cell pets yet. Hopefully we're going to get the level 2 Platypus pretty soon. And I think I actually messaged Rev a few times while I was going for this, showing him all the 9-win fails and the frustrating moments where the combo works but you still end up losing, which definitely happened a fair few times. But here it looks like I'm going to go for level 2 Lynx to try and preserve hearts. This is funny. This shows when the run was recorded. This username is Waiting for Honeydew, which actually at the time of recording has now been released. That's the new defensive perk in Golden Pack, which I'm sure is going to have a pretty significant impact on how good the pack is competitively. I'm not sure how much difference it really makes for Arena. So we get the elk. And you can tell why I would be messaging Rev if we're using elk, because I was telling him that I was just getting so desperate to try and make this combo work that I was just taking everything I would normally play in Star Pack, and that includes both elk and starfish. Actually, the other day, Rev did a video where he was mentioning that I wouldn't take starfish in customs. Well, here's the counter argument. I was losing my mind going for this build, so we are at the point in the recording process where starfish is definitely on the table now. We just need one more chocolate in order to get the value from the bass. I think this is back-to-back rhino, although I'm not sure if it's different people, but the combination of the platypus and the old seaweed is going to get the job done. Seaweed has since been changed to give to spawn the baby sea urchin instead, which is basically the same, it just has slightly less damage reduction. So definitely going to greed for level 3 bass, level 3 platypus, and then we get the level up into alpaca, so I think I'm just going to take the starfish now, although we are on 1 heart, so we probably need to just commit on this turn. Okay, we don't take the alpaca. I guess, oh actually, wow. I am greeding for the next turn. That's pretty risky business there. I think I really should have just sold the platypus on that turn in order to give myself a chance, but luckily we scraped the win. A tie would have also been fine, but now we get back to the shop and we have the double starfish waiting, and we find the terror bird in the shop. So terror bird is the alternative to walrus, and actually it's much easier to set this combo up using terror bird than it is with walrus pill. So I don't know why I was doing walrus pill to begin with. Maybe just for the sake of variety, I don't know. But with a single platypus cell, look at the difference in stats between the previous turn and the current turn. It's just nonsensical. So now we just need to find one of the jump attackers, and look at that. I roll the snow leopard almost immediately. And now I just need a strawberry for the snow leopard. And look at this, absolutely perfect shop phase. Everything working out precisely as I needed it to. Here's Rev again. The peanut ends up getting blocked by coconut there. Kind of funny that both of us are using the two coconut and peanut strawberry pets. Maybe not surprising that we're both on one heart struggling to get a win when we're going for these combos that don't make the most sense. So Snow Leopard is random normally, but because of Blueberry's ability, which redirects random abilities, it means we're guaranteed to hit the front unit every time. That's why we don't have to have Wild Dog. And in fact, in the current version, if you want to do this and attack the frontmost unit with the Fruit Fly, you would have to use Snow Leopard instead of African Wild Dog. So things are changing at a rapid pace in Super Auto Pets at the moment. Freezing Eggplant. I'm not sure how useful it is here. I guess maybe to disrupt a team like this, actually. It would be much better to have the tiger in front of the panda there and prevent the boar getting so many stats. But I think we're going to be all right regardless. I suppose we didn't have enough gold left to buy the eggplant anyway. But I guess, am I going to take it anyway? Okay, I do buy it on the Terror Bird in the end. Now we just want to see some opposing teams that actually fall apart as a result of losing their frontmost pet. Yogru is not going to cut it though, because it's a summon team as always. And I think we are going to win, but yeah, we didn't really get to see the combo. Anytime I see the Halloween background, I know it's going to be Yogru. So level 3 Lynx is a good upgrade. I would like to get some more health onto the Snow Leopard because it looks pretty precarious there on, I think it was 2 HP for turn 15. And I think the eggplant does do something here, but unfortunately they don't have a huge unit at the front. So the Snow Leopard does get a knockout, but it's not really on the kind of unit that we actually wanted to see. So that puts us on to 9 victories. I mean, you could also do this with higher level Terror Bird, so you could have 2 jump attackers, maybe increase your chances of getting a knockout on a 50-50. I played a lot of games of this trying to make it happen, and we'll look at a couple of clips in a minute. But look at this battle here. The front unit is a Scorpion on turn 16, which instantly dies to the Fruit Fly, so we don't get to see the combo for a completely different reason. But the Snow Leopard with Peanut does end up getting the final knockout, regardless. So now we've got some clips. Here's one where I don't even have the Peanut yet. I thought this was a funny opposing team though, where they've got Spino at the back and then Panther with Popcorn. And they basically get a new summon team out of the Panther Popcorn with Turkey and Eagle in the right order. And I think as a result of that, it's going to be a tie. Yeah. Funny interaction though. It would be nice to see more Panther Popcorn out in the wild. Now here's one where we do get an instant kill on a Behemoth, however they didn't actually have any equipment. So the Fruit Fly didn't really do anything there. It was guaranteed knockout regardless. And then here's one against Rev. This was kind of a hybrid team where I also had the monkey-faced bat. But Rev gets this crazy sequence of units out of the Bay Cat. And although the porcupine knocks out the goblin shark, we only get a single unit there. I'm not really entirely sure how tiger plus goblin shark is supposed to work.